I love having Jon Rahm at more than 10-1. He's at 11-1 right now. Defending champ. Defending champs haven't done well here. There's only been three repeat winners in the history of the Masters: Jack, Tiger, and Sir Nick Faldo. Pretty good company. Jon Rahm maybe hasn't been taking things overly seriously since jumping to live, but defending champion with his world class all around game. Not typically good on fast greens, but we saw him last year do just fine on these greens. And for a guy of his caliber to be more than 10-1, I love that line. And I think I would start there because I'm going to be looking for a little bit of a slow start for Scotty to live bet him when he slips to a similar number. Let's say he tees off and maybe has a deficit to make up. Our live odds can move that way if he doesn't start off hot. I think I'd rather do that. But Jon Rahm at 11-1 seems a really long for him, especially coming in as the defending champ. That just makes no sense to me because this is a favorites type tournament. There's a lot of guys at the top here that have had a lot of success here. Uh, for me, that's where I start.
Yeah, you said it too, and I'm in a very similar boat. Like my betting card is pretty condensed this week. There's about 9, 10 guys that I like, and that's pretty much where I'm sitting. A couple of them are very short, so yeah, I'm on Rom as well for all the same reasons you just said. I'm also going to go after Rory, and Rory has moved from
He's a front runner this week.
went from +1,000 to +1,100. So Rory's going the right direction. You might be able to hang on a little bit longer and see if that number slides just a little bit more. Hopefully it does. But realistically, I think the things that have always held Rory back here are all mental. And I think in a lot of ways, some of the air has been cleared around some of the live controversies. It doesn't seem to be that he's having to answer quite as many questions, deal with quite as much politics this time around. He's done a good job of separating himself from the media, from some of the, events and pageantry, as you said. So he seems to be very focused and seemed to be in a very good place mentally and with his game last week. So going into a place that he has a ton of experience with, hasn't been able to get it done. Does have a couple miscuts in his last few appearances, but prior to that, finished, I believe, in all his other starts is inside the top 10, including a runner-up. He's no slouch in chasing that Grand Slam. I mean, I don't know that there's anybody more motivated than Rory McIlroy this week, especially after last year's performance here. So I love
Well,
Rory at 1100.
Rory comes in number one in my model, which is because he's number one in driving distance, number one from tee to green, and number one from long approach distances. He's also number 8 on par fives, which is essential here. If you're not birdieing and eagling par fives here, you have no chance. And Rory coming at number one is eye opening because we just saw him really do well last week. He didn't win, but he showed well, and he showed well in the areas that he hadn't been showing well in the last year.